The human brain is literally wired to torture you over unfinished business. Right now, there are invisible open loops in your mind draining your energy, making you quit your biggest goals halfway. But a 90-year-old psychological glitch can actually trick your brain into becoming obsessed with finishing what you start. Have you ever wondered why you can remember a trivial mistake from 5 years ago, but forget what you studied yesterday? Or why you start a massive project with intense motivation, only to abandon it 2 weeks later? It is not because you lack discipline or willpower. You are simply fighting against your own biology. Your brain hates open loops, yet it simultaneously feels overwhelmed when you try to close them all at once. What if the secret to achieving your dreams is not pushing harder, but strategically leaving things unfinished? This paradox holds the key to unstoppable momentum. Let us travel back to a busy restaurant in Vienna in the 1920s. A psychologist named Zeigarnik noticed something bizarre. The waiters could remember huge, complex orders without writing anything down. But the second the food was served and the bill was paid, their memory of the order vanished completely. The completed task was wiped from their mental hard drive. The uncompleted task stayed active, flashing like a warning light in their brain. This phenomenon became known as the Zeigarnik Effect. Unfinished tasks create mental tension. This tension forces your brain to remember, obsess, and act. However, most of us use this psychological mechanism entirely wrong. We write down massive, vague goals like getting rich or losing 50 pounds. Because these goals take months to finish, your brain opens a giant loop. But the finish line is so far away that the mental tension becomes overwhelming anxiety instead of productive energy. Your brain panics. To escape this crushing pressure, your mind forces you to quit. You drop the goal simply to close the loop and find immediate relief. You are accidentally weaponizing the Zeigarnik Effect against your own success. So, how do we hack this system? The trick is to intentionally create micro-loops. Break your massive goal into ridiculously small 5-minute tasks. Instead of saying you will write a whole book, say you will write one single sentence. You start the task, and then you deliberately stop right in the middle of a thought. You walk away. By intentionally leaving the micro-task unfinished, you trigger the Zeigarnik Effect in your favor. Your brain will itch. It will desperately want to return to the desk just to finish that one sentence. You manufacture your own motivation. What nobody realizes is that procrastination is rarely about laziness. It is almost always an emotional regulation problem. You are avoiding the negative feeling associated with the task, not the task itself. But when you apply this effect, you bypass the emotional roadblock completely. You trick your subconscious. You are not asking it to climb a mountain. You are just asking it to tie your hiking boots and leave one lace untied. The mild irritation of the untied lace forces you to act. The momentum takes over naturally from there. You become a passenger to your own psychology. Imagine what would happen if you applied this to every single area of your life. What if you stopped trying to be perfectly productive and started being strategically incomplete? You would never face creative burnout again. You would finish editing your videos because you deliberately left the final timeline clip unrendered before bed. You would effortlessly build momentum because your daily actions are broken into tiny, unresolved steps that pull you forward. You would transform from someone who relies on fleeting bursts of willpower into a machine driven by inescapable neurological tension. Your brain would work for you. The real-world consequence of ignoring this is a graveyard of half-finished projects. We all know people who have been talking about starting a business or learning a language for a decade. They are stuck in a perpetual cycle of high motivation, followed by an inevitable crash. They exhaust their mental bandwidth carrying around heavy, unclosed loops. They burn out before they even gain traction. Do not let your big dreams become a source of subconscious torture. Understand that your mind is a tool, and right now, you might be holding it by the wrong end entirely. It is time to shift your perspective on finishing. Completion is not the engine of progress, it is the exhaust. The engine is the active, unresolved tension of the work in progress. Stop trying to finish everything perfectly before the day ends. Embrace the messy, unfinished middle. Let the Zeigarnik Effect keep your goals burning quietly in the background of your mind. When you finally understand this, quitting becomes harder than continuing. You will find yourself waking up excited to close the loops you engineered the night before. You will finally become truly unstoppable. The next time you sit down to work on your biggest dream, I want you to try this exact strategy. Start a tiny task, leave it noticeably incomplete, and see how your brain reacts over the next few hours. Notice the itch. Notice the pull. It is a strange, powerful feeling when you finally take control of your own mental wiring. You are now equipped with one of the most effective psychological hacks ever discovered. What is the one major project you have abandoned in the past that you are going to restart using this exact method?